This is an SWX Sports Update.
Well, today was one of, if not the busiest days of the year for high school sports. Track, soccer, baseball, softball. So we needed to up the amount of time for all the highlights to be squeezed in. With that being said, what are we waiting for? Let's get to it. We'll start on the softball diamond. Richland versus Central Valley for the District 8 championship. Second inning, Bombers up 3-0, but keeping the line moving. Emily Garza smacks one out to center. Haley Daves scores, and it's a 4-0 lead for Richland. Later on, the Bears just trying to keep pace. Wild pitch allows Gianna McCoy to score, but Central Valley is still down 4-1. We'll go to late in the ball game. The Bombers have really opened it up at this point. It's Taylor Clark this time. She hits a double that bounces up off the fence, and that made it 9-2. That would end up being your final score as Richland captures the district championship with a win. But the Bombers aren't the only 4A MCC team that are headed to the state tournament. With a pair of wins today, the Chiawana Riverhawks will join them. After losing to Lewis and Clark in the semifinal last Friday, Chiawana came back with a win over Hanford and then a revenge win over the LC Tigers today to punch their ticket. They'll join the 1-seed Bombers and the 2-seed Central Valley Bears as the 3rd seed to come out of the tough MCC GSL tournament. Well, down in the 2Bs, Kittitas and Dayton Waitsburg won their district semifinal games and met in the district championship. There, a combined 26 runs were scored as Kittitas wins 14-12. Both of those squads are headed to the state tournament. In the 1A, Warden and Royal met in the district championship out at Connell High School, where Warden won handily. However, Royal is still going to state. And then in the consolation side of that same bracket, College Place and Cle Elum responded from earlier losses to make it to the 3rd place, 4th place game, where Cle Elum got the 1-run win. However, just like on the other side of the bracket, both are going to state. And finally, in the 2A crossovers, which are winner to state, loser out games, the Sela Vikings punched their ticket with a win over the West Valley Eagles of Spokane. And then East Valley of Yakima, where my mom went to school, shout out mom, beat East Valley of Spokane to head to the state tournament as well. State tourney soccer now. Ferris and Pasco in a rematch of the district championship. We'll pick it up in the second half, tied at 1. A beautiful ball from Cade Martin to Tyler Holland. His shot is deflected but finds the back of the net. Saxons take a 2-1 lead on their District 8 rivals. 75th minute will go. Off the corner kick, the ball goes across the face of the goal and finds the boot of Jonas Oliveira, who scores the late equalizer. This match would head to extra time, tied at 2. Of course it would. It's Ferris and Pasco. Second overtime now. Off the throw in, the Saxons get a couple of heads on it. It hits the crossbar, and then Liam Kelly delivers the golden goal. Ferris defeats the defending state champs 3-2, and the Bulldogs' great season comes to a close. Now go to some out-of-town scores in the soccer quarterfinals. Vashon Island got a 2-1 win over Connell on the Eagles' home turf to advance to the semifinals of the 1A tournament. Then in the 2A tournament, we saw a pair of CWAC foes go at it as Toppenish defeats Ellensburg 2-0, and that means that the Wildcats are headed to the semifinals where they'll face Sahome. And finally, in the 3A bracket, Kamaikan season ends after a tough 2-0 loss to the Mountain View Thunder. Switching gears, today was the second and final day of the District 8 track meet at Fran Risch Stadium. After preliminary heats yesterday, today was where individual athletes as well as teams clinched their berth to the state championship meets. Now, if we listed off every local athlete who qualified for state, we'd be here all night. So instead, let's tip our hats to the team winners. In the 3A girls, the Kamaikan Braves and North Central Indians tied for first, both totaling 134 points. In the 3A boys, the Kamaikan Braves ran away with the team championship, beating the second place team by 60.5 points. For the 4A girls, it was Hanford getting the win and Walla Walla coming in second. And finally, in the 4A boys, it was Walla Walla taking first with Central Valley in second and Chiawana in third. Don't go anywhere. We've got a whole bunch of baseball highlights coming up right after the break. Welcome back. Now we've gone over track, softball, and soccer, and that leaves us with baseball. Technically already in the state tournament, today was the regional round with games being played up in Yakima as well as here in the Tri-Cities. We go out to Davis High School, site of the 2B regional, Asotin and Burbank to start. The early innings belong to the pitchers Hayden McEachern with a punch out for the Coyotes, and then Noah Henselman matching for Asotin. Finally, in the 6th, we're scoreless with a man on third, and McEachern bounces one to home. Judy Tarrant scores, and the go-ahead Panthers on the board first. Stay in the same inning, Josh Wilkinson lofts a fly ball to right. It's a tough catch on the line, but Renzelman is able to come in. Asotin goes on to score 5 runs in the final 2 innings, and Renzelman goes the distance. Asotin moves on. So second game of the regional, Max Nelson and the top-seeded Tri-City Prep Jaguars against Liberty Bell. Here's Nelson at the plate, scoreless in the 3rd until this pass ball gives the Jags a break. Landon Amato comes in to score. TCP strikes first. Same inning, 2 down, and Peter Asfalm thinks he's going to get out of the inning. Logan Mercado with a sinking liner to right, and it gets away from the right fielder. David Grew and Nelson both come in to score. Jags take a 3-0 lead. That was all they needed. Nelson held Liberty Bell to just a single run, and TCP moves on to the late game with a 3-1 win. So then after that at Pete Orgill Field, a windy regional final between TCP and Asotin. Scoreless bottom of the 2nd, 2 on and 2 out for TCP. Devin Fry pulls a string on Owen Ratala for the strikeout, gets out of trouble. Through the first 3 innings, Logan Mercado had the answer. Strikeouts on strikeouts, that is until the 4th. 2 on, and after an error, a soft single, this one's trouble. Keaton Caldwell dribbles one through the hole, 1 run scores. The other runner gets gunned down at the plate though. Asotin up 1-0, and thanks to a night to remember for Fry on the mound, that's all he needed. He went the distance, and the Panthers upset the reigning 2B champs 1-0. Now, as a native of Colfax, Washington, who sadly were eliminated from the state tournament today, go Bulldogs, nothing warms my heart like small school baseball, but I've grown close to some of the bigger schools, including the Kennewick Braves baseball team. Up at Yakima County Stadium, Mount Spokane won the early game, so they play the winner of Kennewick and Lake Washington. Braves down 6-0 in the 4th, not a good start, trying to spark a 1-out rally, but pitcher Tristan Vreeling, not helping his own cause here, bounces into the inning-ending 6-3 double play. Next half inning, Vreeling is going to help himself out this time, strikes out Ricky Koshida to leave the bases loaded and keep the score 6-0 headed to the 6th. That's where the Braves broke through. Leadoff triple by Gavin Ayers set up this RBI groundout from Caleb Beasley. And then once Vreeling was out of the game, it all started to fall apart though. Torrin Montgomery tees off on the pitch from Nico Wiltz. This ball smacks the wall. 2 runs come hopping home for the Kangaroos. Kennewick trailed by 7 at this point. Went on to lose 10-4, but congrats and hats off to them on a great season. Then out at Bomber Field, regionals got started with Hanford facing Moses Lake in the 10 a.m. game. Very first inning, Dominic Signorelli gets us started in style. You could tell the sound it made when it jumped off the bat that it was gone. Chiefs go up 1-0 in the very first frame. To the 2nd we go, we've seen Moses Lake use long ball, but what about small ball? Cody Alvarado lays down a perfect, and I do mean perfect, squeeze bunt that scores another run. Chiefs double their lead to 2-0. Hanford trying to make a late comeback down 3-0. Tyler Carlson pulls one through the infield. That scores Mitch Powers and made it 3-1, but that would end up being the final score as a roller coaster ride of the season for the Falcons comes to a close. After that, it was the Richland Bombers' turn to show out on their home field against the Curtis Vikings. It would take until the 4th to find some runs. Jude Rowley pops the bunt up. Taylor Johnson dives, but it's just out of his reach, and the game's first run is scored by the Vikings. Same inning, more trouble. This time it's Noah Claxton Ward punching one through the right side of the infield. Another run comes in, and the Bombers are now down 2-0. But you didn't think the defending state champs were going to go easy, did you? They're down 2-1 here, but it's Taylor Johnson helping his own cause. A 2-run single put the Bombers in front. They'd add some insurance run later and get a 5-3 win to advance to the quarterfinals. So it's Richland and Moses Lake meeting in the regional final, trying to punch their ticket to next weekend. We'll pick things up in the 4th. This is a great diving stop by Richland, which gets an out at 2nd, but Gabe Passy scores, and the Chiefs are first on the board. Same inning, Moses Lake with some more small ball. It's Alvarado dropping down another beautiful bunt. It's up the third base line. Here comes Zach Valdez. Chiefs are up 2-0. Now in the 6th, and it's a 4-0 lead. It's Signorelli sending one out to center. Heck of an effort here from Drew Daves, but the ball gets past him. A run scores all the way from first. Richland falls 5-0 to Moses Lake, meaning that there will be a new 4A state champion this year. Checking in on some out-of-town scores in the 1A regional round, College Place was defeated 6-1 by the Montesano Bulldogs at Castle Rock High School. Sticking with the 1A but moving to the regional games at Moses Lake, both Royal and Zillow were defeated by their first-round opponents. Freeman beat the Knights 10-1 and Colville beat the Leopards 9-7 in a barn burner. And finally, it was a fun one at the 2A regionals in Ephrata. First up, Ellensburg beat River Ridge 7-3, and then Selah took down North Kitsap 4-1. That meant we got a rematch of the CWAC title game where Selah shut out Ellensburg 5-0.